If you want to be coached by someone that podiumed at the first ever MX Bikes LAN event, then click the Discord link in the description below, follow the steps on screen to book a one-on-one session with me now. Anyway, enjoy the video. Alrighty, what's good boys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today, in this video, we are going to be talking about whether the aerial tracks have actually improved over the years. So I have 4 different years of Parla. We've got 2022, 2023, 24 and 25. And we're going to be doing a lap on them and we're going to see, have the aerial tracks actually improved? Alright then, so track number 1 is going to be 2022 Parla by Stone Rider. I'm going to do little sort of pros and cons for each track, and then towards the end we'll sort of summarise and, you know, we'll answer the big question of have the aerial tracks improved. I do want to say as well, I have had to record this one on the video because OBS just hates me sometimes and just wants to mess up all the time. So this one clip is recorded with NVIDIA, however all of the other ones are all perfectly fine, they're all through OBS. But yeah, the quality will improve, you know, in the next ones. Just this one, yeah, OBS just gave me a lot of hassle, so we had to do this one on the video, so I apologise for that. We're on the Triumph, the actual Triumph OEM, not a model, the actual Triumph OEM. As off season, I thought we'd change it up a little bit. Obviously did a video on the Suzuki. Now I thought, you know what, might as well ride the Triumph. When I was testing the OEMs, the Triumph was probably my favourite bike to ride. I still find it now a very, very smooth and fun bike to ride. But yeah, that's why we're on the Triumphs, not New Meta or anything like that, because I know a lot of people see that. They see one person change a bike and everyone thinks the meta's changing instantly. But no, we are just riding the Triumph just for fun. As it's just testing, obviously it doesn't really mean anything. Everyone will go flat out. We're not doing lap time, not doing anything like that. So haven't got to worry about speed. Just getting a lap done on each track essentially. But yeah, the pros of this track were it raced very good. It had multiple lines as well, and it's a very fun track. Nothing too technical about it. You're not really fighting the track. You can actually battle with others, which was really, really good about this track, I think. But yeah, the cons to this track wasn't really a lot of roughness. It was kind of hard to pass. Like I said, there is multiple lines. You can do multiple lines, but because it isn't really technical, it's very, very start dependent when it comes to racing. But yeah, nonetheless, some good pros and some cons that aren't too bad. But nonetheless, 2022 can't really ask so much. Now, 2023 Parla was made by TFC. TFC took over from Stone Rider in 2023, just for outdoors, and it brought a whole new style of tracks. Obviously, 2 different creators had completely different ways of making tracks. Now, TFC, his tracks were enjoyable, but I wouldn't really call them pro tracks, I guess. They were very simple, they were rather easy, and I think that's why a lot of people didn't really enjoy a lot of the TFC tracks. They weren't really pro tracks just because they didn't really have a lot of technicality to them. I feel like that's one of the cons of this track, is that it wasn't really a technical track and it was rather easy. You know, when you're at the top of the game, you want hard tracks and tracks that will challenge everyone. And another con, they were just very, very start dependent, just with how simple the tracks were. Nothing really, you know, brought you apart for anyone else. If you got a good start, ran a good pace, you were absolutely fine the entire race. If you start from the back, it was really, really hard to catch up from people. Pros of this track is that it was very fun. It was very easy to find a flow just because of how, you know, like sort of simple the track was. It was very easy to find a flow. It's very nice to just run lap after lap after lap. You don't really make a lot of mistakes. But again, when that comes to pro racing, that does come out as a con in some ways, just because you want a track that's challenging and you want to be able to sort of, you want something to separate the top from the rest, basically. And that just didn't really happen with these TFC tracks. But nonetheless, very, very enjoyable tracks, very easy to find a flow on. So then 2024 comes around and Stone Rider is back to the outdoor track creating. We only had 1 year with TFC and like I said, the tracks weren't bad, but there wasn't really much technicality to it compared to if you look at these tracks now, for example. there is a lot more technicality to it and not as start dependent. This is the year now where the tracks start getting a lot harder, they start to get a lot rougher, and you are fighting the track as well as the other riders around you. That can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing, it depends how you want to see it. But it wasn't as start dependent, which was nice. Parlour is always a little bit start dependent, it isn't always perfect, but you know, I never do too great at Parlour anyway, so I never really have any good results or memories, to be honest, when it comes to Parlour. But yeah, normally you can come through the field a little bit on this year's track and also 2024's track, so that's definitely a pro. But yeah, the pros to this track are you can come from the back. It wasn't super technical, which was nice because you could actually come through the field, but there was enough technicality to the point where it wasn't super easy and really start dependent, so that's another pro. And it was nice that the layout was a little bit different this year as well. They changed it up, obviously. We copied these from real life, so this isn't like a Stone Rider thing, but in general they changed Parlour around a little bit this year, so it felt like a bit more of a fresh track than the years beforehand. And to be honest, there wasn't really many cons to this track other than it was quite one-lined. Everyone was kind of taking the exact same line and it was hard to pass people because of that. But nonetheless, it definitely had more pros than cons. Now then, the final Parlour, this year's one, the 2025 Parlour, again made by Stone Rider. I'm not sure if we'll ever go away from Stone Rider again. I feel like it's just, I don't know, I don't think there really is anyone else that can do it other than B Clay, but I think with him doing GPs, he probably kind of prefers that schedule than doing all of the outdoor rounds. But nonetheless, this was definitely an improvement from the 2024 track, I will say. It was very fun, it was very flowy. Again, technical, it was probably the most technical track that we've had Parlour wise, and I think that was good because again it wasn't very start dependent, and you could definitely come through the field. Also, I didn't find it one-lined at all. I think the track had multiple lines to use. A lot of people were changing lines and stuff during the actual pro races, which is good. That's how you want a track to be. So not really any cons, I'll be completely honest with this track. It was fast, it was flowy, but yeah, definitely an improvement from the last year. So, the age-old question, have the aerial tracks improved visually and rideability? I would definitely say yes. I feel like the tracks have improved. There will always be room for improvement though, I think we all know that. But the answer to the question of the title is yes, these tracks have improved.